Hello, everybody. I want to thank you so much for joining our Facebook group, Keeping It Together. We are talking about our emotions and how we can use essential oils to help support healthy emotions. We are going to see in this next couple of days different oils that can be used. Today, I want to talk a little bit about how our emotions can affect us and how they can really be of benefit or detriment to our health. And since we are all about overall good health and wellness, I love that we have so many options. So as we start off today, I want to talk a little bit about why we use essential oils to manage our mood. Number one, I mentioned in the intro that these are natural and safe ways for us to handle our emotional well-being. And this is something that we can get a quick response from just smelling the oils or from applying them topically. And it's just a simple and easy way to manage those emotions. And what I love is that there is all kinds of scientific proof that we have a chemical response that happens both in our nervous system and especially in the limbic portion of our brain that helps us to be able to modify our emotions when we're dealing with them based on the smell and the fragrance of different oils. They evoke different feelings. And so these are something that we can smell. And as we breathe in, the scientific term is volatile aromatic compounds. Just means when we breathe in the essential oils, we are able to affect that limbic portion of our brain within 20 seconds. It's absolutely phenomenal how quickly these are able to work. And just as if you were walking through and you smelled a certain smell and it reminded you of your grandmother, or it reminded you of a wonderful day that you had once with your kids, a certain place that you've traveled to or been to, we use our senses to really help affect our memory and our motivation. And so that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about triggering things in our brain in a positive way and really becoming aware of what oils work best for each of us individually, because we all have a very personal experience. And so as we talk about using these oils, there are really three different parts of our bodies that really are affected by using essential oils. And so when we're talking about the three brains, they call it, it's basically referring to your mind, which as you see there, it says logic and intellect. And that's because our subconscious mind directs over 90% of our behavior. And so if we're able to be diffusing an oil in the background or even smelling an oil directly just from the bottle, we can really help to retrain a positive response of events that happen, or help to change and to reflect a more, a happy mood, or maybe to calm down some anxious feelings. The next part is our heart. That's the other quote unquote brain in our body, and that deals with our intuition. And this, I think, has a lot to do with where we deal with maybe past hurts, things that have happened in our past that when they come up, they evoke a certain kind of feeling or reaction. Or maybe you are frustrated with something that's going on around you, or you're environmentally surrounded in a very stressful or difficult situation. And our intuition has that neuro pathway that runs from our heart to our brain and from our brain to our heart. And this is where a lot of people struggle with stress and anxiety and things like that, that they really are able to have some healthy support for those emotions. And then third, this is something that I have really seen a lot of science about recently, and that is our gut. And we have so many chemicals and that serotonin that are actually produced in the gut. And if we have a healthy gut and we have healthy foundational and digestive health, these things actually can support our emotional well-being. And we know that even just if we looked at the most simplistic of methods, we talk about if I've overeaten. Well, if I've overeaten and I'm not feeling well, I definitely am not going to be like, get up and go, run around and happy and wanting to do it. No, I feel tired. I feel down on myself that I maybe overate, or I ate something I knew I shouldn't have eaten. That can bring on feelings of guilt. That can bring on feelings of frustration. Or maybe it just brings you down because you just don't feel well. And so it's amazing to me that we really can see that our feelings are, as they say at the bottom there, chemicals that can help or hurt. And so we are working on finding ways that we can affect our emotions in a positive way and really bring about a whole wellness and health of our body, okay? When we look at situations that happen in our lives, we have a life experience that happens, right? Maybe something's happened at work, or maybe something's happened with your kids, or, you're just having a really stressful day. Something broke down with your car, right? And the first thing that happens is those 3 areas of our body, those 3 quote unquote brains, start to process, right? Our brain starts to think, I have to figure this out. I have to come up with a solution. How am I going to get my car to the shop? What am I going to do? How am I going to time that? I've got to get to work. I've got to get, my kid to school, right? And then we start to feel overwhelmed, right? We start to think, oh my gosh, all these things happen to me at the wrong time. I'm so overwhelmed. I can't stand when I have all these things go on. And then this was just the straw that broke the camel's back, right? And then our gut starts to think, I'm just stuck. I can't get out of this rut. Or I'm in a situation I don't know how to get myself out of. And so immediately our body starts to have a physical response to all of those emotions. And that's when, as you see there, the head and neck tension, very conflicted feelings in, emotions of anxiety and things like that happen. Maybe we might start to get some restriction in our chest, feeling very overwhelmed with emotion. And then that can often cause an unsettled digestive system. And so it's amazing to me when something so simple as looking at this graphic can show us that, yes, all of these things do happen, and they happen to us on a daily basis. This isn't something that only happens if you work full-time, or if you're married, or if you have kids. Every single person deals with things that happen in their life on a daily basis, and it can absolutely start to affect our physical well-being. And so when we have these things happen, and we start to feel very disconnected, and we start to feel all these conflicted feelings and the upset stomach, then what happens is we do start to fill in some beliefs in our head that I'm always going to be this frazzled. I'm never going to get my car settled. I'm going to be late to work. I'm going to lose my job. Like, all these things start flooding in. It's amazing to me how we can allow those kind of negative feelings to start piling up. And then those become something that they plant themselves, and you go, oh my gosh, how did this happen? How did I get to where I'm thinking this negative stuff all the time? And we need to start weeding those things out. So what I would like to do is help to show you some oils that you can be using in a couple of different ways that are not only going to help you with the things that are already going on, but help you to be prepared for the things that may come on in the future, right? None of us live a drama-free life. None of us live a stress-free life. None of us live a problem-free life. And so if we have the tools to be able to help ourselves to deal with these things better, then how much better is our physical health going to be? And we all know that when our physical health is poor, our emotional health is absolutely going to be poor, and vice versa. When we talk about using these oils, they really do follow some of the basics that we teach about, say, the top 10 oils, or when you first start using them. But there are 3 different ways that we use the oils to manage our emotions. And that first way is definitely aromatically. And that is whether you are putting it in a diffuser and diffusing it by your bed at night, or by your desk at work, or maybe you're just smelling it directly from the bottle. Maybe you are applying it to your pulse points on your wrist, or behind your ears, and you're smelling it, right? Then we move into something that's a little bit topical, right? There's topical ways for us to use the oils that work in conjunction with the aromatic. I love the idea that I can apply some of the emotional oils to my chest and just take in a nice big deep breath, right? So that's using it both topically and aromatically at the same time. Another thing that we can do is, of course, applying them to the bottom of our feet. We know that the bottom of our feet have all of those nerve endings from our body, so it travels very quickly, and that's where we get that quick response that we talked about at the very beginning of this, a very quick response to what is going on with our body. Emotionally, we can help that with simply applying the oils to the bottom of our feet. How extraordinary is that? It just absolutely fascinates me. And then third, we deal with, the third way we use our oils is we take them internally. And you know, when I tell people about taking the oils internally, I always like to stress that this information is strictly for doTERRA essential oils. They are certified, pure, therapeutic grade oils, and they are ones that can be used internally if marked on the bottle for internal use. So we have many oils. I would say roughly about 75 to 80% of our oils can be taken internally, which is a remarkable thing and really puts doTERRA above and beyond. Now, when we talk about 3 different ways that we can use these oils, we can look here and see that aromatically, this is a way for us to shift our mood, right? Smell is the fastest way. I mentioned that when we are walking through and we smell a certain thing and it reminds us of something positive in our lives, reminds us of a great memory or of a loved one. Well, these aromatic molecules have direct access to that limbic portion, right? Or the emotional seat of our brain. And so I love the idea of using several different oils. And I tried to keep mostly here part of the top 10, maybe just a few extra. And then in the next couple of days, you're going to hear about our specific emotional aromatherapy oils. But if you just have the top 10 or maybe a few extras, these are some great ideas for you. You know, diffusing peppermint is a great way to help if you are feeling very overwhelmed or you're having that head and neck tension. It's a great way to help us shift if you are feeling very down. It's a great way to help us to shift into a more positive and upbeat feeling. A couple other ones that I like to use aromatically are eucalyptus and grapefruit and wild orange. Now, these are just 4 that you're seeing here: peppermint, eucalyptus, grapefruit, and wild orange. These are just 4. There are countless oils that we can use aromatically, but I wanted to give you a few ideas on ones you could start, maybe that you might already have in your collection at home now. Topically, we're talking about stimulating self-repair. This is where we are going to help our bodies physically to be able to affect ourselves emotionally. So whether that is applying on the back of our neck, across our forehead, or on the bottoms of your feet, certain oils to affect our brain, or maybe we're applying it on our chest, over our heart, or we're putting this on the insides of our wrist or behind our ears. All of these are pulse points that help to affect our heart and our emotions in our heart, right? So if maybe like somebody here, the example is dealing with grief. Breathe is a great one to apply to your chest and to apply it on your wrist and just be able to take in that nice big deep breath and allow yourself to have that moment where it really increases that openness, that open feeling of your airways that gives you a nice big deep breath. And often when we're upset or we're stressed and we take a minute to just stop and take in a nice big deep breath and blow out, we realize that we can actually help to calm ourselves. So applying the breathe can be very helpful. And then third, we see that we're applying things over our stomach or on the bottoms of our feet to help with that gut health or to help with that feeling. You know, sometimes it's not even a physical feeling of a digestive issue, but you just feel it like you just got punched in the gut, right? That's a phrase people use when something terrible has happened and they just completely unexpected. And those kind of things can happen to us every once in a while, may happen to you often. And so to know you've got something you can just reach and grab is so relieving to me. It just brings me such joy and relief to know. And so a couple of oils that we would use topically, like I mentioned, the Breathe. Another one is Aromatouch. Aromatouch is one of my new favorites that I use on my forehead or on the back of my neck if I'm feeling the stressful feelings or that tension in my neck and shoulders. It's something that you can use on somebody's spine. I often will run it down my daughter's spine if she's feeling very like overwhelmed with emotions and things. I love to use that aroma touch on her back. The lavender, obviously, we know is something that's very calming and soothing, and it can be applied to the bottom of our feet, either during the day if we're dealing with anxious things, or maybe it's to get a good night's rest. We all know how valuable a good night's rest is when we're feeling emotionally stimulated or physically uncomfortable. These are great things to have. And then thirdly, the balance oil. And so this is not in our top 10, but it is one that is a grounding blend. It has things like frankincense in it. And that is a very grounding, calming oil that can be used every single day. It's one I would absolutely suggest putting on the bottom of your feet. Just helps you mentally and physically prepare for your day. And as you're dealing with maybe emotions that are kind of going up and down, or you're dealing with feelings, balance is a great way to really help kind of bring you back into focus. And then thirdly is internally, and this is what we'll close our session with today. And that is, a lot of our oils can be taken internally to help support our emotional health because they're helping to balance those chemical reactions inside of our body. And we talked about how, we can really have a lot of issues with our gut, or our emotions and stress and things like that can affect our immune system as well. And so a lot can be done by taking the oils internally for overall health. And one of those things is On Guard, of course. This is one of our blends that has to do with our immune health, and it has a wonderful combination of wild orange, clove, cinnamon, rosemary, and eucalyptus. And it is one that can be taken daily and helps to really support a healthy immune system. Other ones that help us to get a good kick, a boost, kind of increase our levels of happiness and serotonin. The lemon is excellent for that. Taking a drop or two in some water throughout the day, or maybe putting them in a gel cap if you need to. The frankincense, that's my go-to oil for any time I'm feeling anxious. Anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed, I go to frankincense and balance. Those are my two. So the balance cannot be taken internally, the frankincense can. So I immediately put 1 to 2 drops underneath my tongue, and I just take a minute to take in a nice big deep breath. And it's so calming and really helps me to center and focus. And then finally, the digestion. We know that that can be so beneficial for our digestive system. And as again, it all goes back to gut health is so valuable in helping support our immune system, our emotions. And so applying the digestion topically or putting it in water and taking it internally can be very beneficial. So this was just a brief teaching on how we can use these oils to help support overall good emotional health. I look forward to talking with you over the next couple of days and showing you about the individual emotional aromatherapy oils that doTERRA has to offer. So stay tuned in tomorrow for another video, and we will be talking about 2 of our top oils in our emotional kit, and that is Peace and Motivate. All right, thank you so much. I look forward to talking with you again. Have a wonderful, restful, and very calm and relaxing night. Thank you.